Excel's text manipulation. Pathetic. But we have to deal with what we have. Identify specific components of an email address and replace them and put them into a different cell. Here we want to pull out the email component. We're going to use trim, left, substitute, mid, find, when, repeats. Perhaps old school, perhaps not. Excel's introduced about in 2022 some tools that will allow you to do some text manipulation, but how finite can you get in terms of text manipulation? Can you narrow it to this level? I'll explain. Down below here is my explanation. I'm going to walk you through step by step what all of the different functions do and how we pull this off. Brad Williams, Excel Prime, identify specific components of an email address. What we're going to do in very simple terms, we're going to grab everything after the @ sign, and that's what we want to see. How are we going to do it? Here we have this trim left, substitute, find. It's the same song and dance. It's just a matter of what we want to strip. Here, we want to start with the left because we're going to strip everything away from the @ sign. And then we're going to keep part of it, get rid of most of it. How are we going to do this? Here we have this mid function. What we're going to do is find the @. We have to find this @ F9. This is going to be 26. And the number of characters, F9 is 57. We're going to start at 26 and keep 57. We're going to use a substitute. We're going to find any space, and then we're going to flood it with a bunch of blanks. We're going to go to left. This is going to be our text. F9. Substitute, and we know we got this long old string here, and it's going to be @cbb.com. In the end, there's going to be number of characters, 90. What we're going to see here is we're going to see @cbb.com and then those 90 spaces, and then trim's going to remove all of that. Remember how this thing works. You got to go in here. You have to start with this mid. Why the mid? Because we have to identify our starting point. B5. B5 is going to be this entire string. Find text, within, F9. Here, we're going to go back to mid. And since we can't see the text, on our start number, F9, is 26. Number of characters, F9, 57. And there's no way. When I work on something like this and I can't visualize it, I try to break it down, okay? And here, what are we trying to do? We're trying to capture just this @cbh.com. And as I said, we're gonna float a bunch of numbers and blanks and what have you. Start here. Our end number is cbh.com, right? Here we have this len. Okay. In the end, this is the end result. I want to break this down piece by piece. Go to the very top here. Here is our string, and it's 57 characters long. We need to start someplace, and the @ sign just seems the most logical place to start. So not including the @ sign, how many characters is that? It's 25. If we need to capture this @ sign and then everything to the right, wouldn't it make sense to use the left function? To do that, we're going to need to what? Well, we'll probably need to get rid of everything to the left and then keep everything to the right. How many characters are to the right? 32. Let's go up here. Here's our left. Substitute. Why are we going to use substitute? Because we need to remove everything to the left and then eventually move everything to the right. Substitute works in order to grab this middle piece. Let's look at this mid. What's the mid function do? It extracts text from the middle of a cell. We're going to have the mid, we're going to have the text, which is this long string here. And then we have this find thing. All right, that's our start number. F9, there's 26. And then number of characters. F9. F9. What does that represent? Well, we want to start at, I showed you here, 25. Well, we want to start at 26. We want to take this information, somehow remove everything to the right. If we do this, left, let's just go through one thing at a time here. We've got these numbers. End result is this right here. Mid, be fine, 32. And what does that represent? That's 32. That's the starting point. What's the length of this character? 57. 25 is, 32 is not our starting point. That is the number of characters we want to keep. We want to keep. In other words, we're going to remove everything. Remember the mid function. Let's go back up here. The mid function, it needs a start number, F9, and number of characters, F9. What's it doing? It's keeping 32. It's going to start at 26 and go out to 57, and that's keeping 32 characters, 32. Here are the 32 characters. Mid, B9, there's the 32. Got it? What we do, if we go back up here and we look at this, now we have to deal with the substitute. Be sure to check out all of our Excel courses. Excel data and text manipulation. We have an advanced beginners and intermediate course. Excel essentials. This is for individuals new to Excel. We have an advanced, excellent beginners, level 1 and level 2, and intermediate level course. Excel formulas, formulas only. We have a beginner, an advanced, and an intermediate level course. Click on any of the links. There's a short video that explains everything about the course. Check it out. We know where we're going and we know what to keep. We're going to keep this CBH, what have you. What we're going to do is we're going to flood. We're going to put for every space here, for every space after .com and wood, we're going to put 90 spaces there. Why? The logic will come to fruit here in a minute. Doing that, here's what it looks like. Remember I said there's going to be 90 spaces? There they are, 90, and then after wood, there's 90. And so there's a total of 477 characters there. Now, how is that going to help us? Let's look at our strategy here. Let's go to left. We have a text. It's going to be 32. Number of characters, 90. My correction, substitute 90. This is substitute right here. There's 477 characters here. We only want 90. The 90, we know 32 is in our basket. No. Sorry about that. We split this up. If we're looking at 477, how far is this next word, would, between our at character and 90? Probably 6 or 7. I don't know how many characters there would be. Hold on. What's the distance between this number and our total? We want to keep 90. And the last thing we want is this would to interfere. This total string is 104 words. If we get rid of this OULD, it's at 100. So we're keeping 90. Well, it's actually 99 because I had to put a space in here because of Excel's. Here we have 100 characters and our requirement here is 90. You see this? 90. If we look at the left function, text, our text is 477 and then our number of characters is 90. And when we strip this thing down, we're going to show as 8. This is what it looks like with 90. It's just characters. There's no, if I stretch this thing out, notice we had 477, now we had 90. This is the same thing at 100. This is 100 characters. If I got rid of the W and a few more spaces, now we have 95. And so you get the point. We have this long string of CBB, and that's not really going to answer our question because we have at cbeh.com 80 characters. Well, then we use trim. We use trim, and in the end, it's 8 characters. It takes a while to break this down and visualize. Sometimes you can just pick it up, and sometimes the confusion extending the 90s and is confusing. Maybe it helped. Maybe what I was doing is too much, but for me, I can see it. Brad Williams, XL Primed.